Ooh.
So first you have to demonstrate your fighting prowess to a clerk.
Do you fight the clerk?
No, but you have to demonstrate your prowess.
You
Okay.
punch the clerk. That's not what I... Sir. Hey there, welcome to the Tabletop Travel Guide, the podcast where we explore fictional worlds and civilizations right from the comfort of our own table. I'm Tyler, and in this week in campaigns, I think we only did our Thursday group. What did we do?
We did do our Thursday group.
Oh yeah, you guys basically Halo jumped off a flying
What?
vehicle.
What?
Wait, I want to describe
Okay,
it. Hi, I'm Sam. Let me describe it.
What?
So the premise is we are on a flying yacht, as you like to be,
Sure.
but it's not a battleship. So there are some enemies chasing down a creature below us. And so because we're on a flying luxury yacht that will descend at 100 feet per round,
They were 300 feet up.
and we were like, well, that's too long. So instead, those of us with fly, leapt off of the ship and then fell and then did
Nice.
the fly at the bottom so then you don't smash into the ground.
Nice.
Yeah.
But it essentially was for two of us, paratrooping down.
Well, how high up was the yacht?
It was 300 feet. And you fall 500 feet in a
No,
round.
no, no. The yacht was only 300 feet in the air?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So you weren't that high.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
It's still ridiculously high.
It started out as somebody started combat early while I was still describing stuff and was like, oh, my person does this and does this. And I'm like, okay, well, you guys are 300 feet away. What do you do? And everyone's like, and we jump off. We're fine. I'm like, well.
My favorite was the one person who has legendary cat fall. So they just jumped and
Yeah.
did cat
If
fall.
you're in legendary athletics, you just take no damage. So he's like, I jump. I have catfall. I'm like, that's only 10. He goes, nope, I'm legendary. So I just don't take anything.
You just don't take full damage. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the one person who, so we have a druid that has animal companions, and so one of the animal companions can't fly, and so that one was just on the boat, hey guys, I'll get there eventually.
I'll get down there. It was fine.
It was great.
Nice. Well, I'm Ryan. I did not play last week. Charles, calling you out. I know you listened to this with Maggie.
Was he at a concert?
Calling you out.
No, that was 2 weeks ago.
And he was sick the week before that. It's been 3 weeks, Charles.
Charles.
So instead, my Helldiver's helmet is completed,
Oh, yeah.
and the armor is being printed right now.
What?
I have a full suit, so I will need Sam's help to do the soft fabric because I don't know how to sew very well.
Oh, this sounds fun.
I can sew, but not very well.
Seems like I'm on the Helldivers train now.
Look, you had me at costume.
I need a cape, and I
Ooh.
need a chest skirt.
A chest
So it's
skirt.
it's like a skirt kind of thing, or like a kilt almost.
Okay.
But the way they described you should make it is not a full garment. It should just be a
Okay, so it's a
Ryan's
kilt for
doing
your
some
midriff.
hand motions.
yes, it's a midriff kilt.
Okay, well, you
Anyway.
don't want your midriff showing.
That's
so
fair.
Yes,
Fair.
that's where all the ghibli bits are.
Mm-hmm,
Yes.
mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, this is going to be part 2 of our Absalom. Welcome back. But before we dive in, we have a little bit of housekeeping for Gen Con. Ryan.
Yeah, so I've learned some things this year. Turns out if you submit an 8-hour event thinking that you're going to just you're reserving the table for 8 hours, Gen Con thinks you're running an 8-hour event, and that is not correct. I do not want a GM for 8 hours.
Correct.
So we resubmitted everything for 4 hours. It's sitting in my Gen Con awaiting approval thing for 4-hour increments, 8 to noon, noon to 4 on Friday, and then 8 to noon, noon to 4 on Saturday. So as soon as that's out, it will get updated and we will
so
communicate.
if you heard that we were doing something and were like, I want to do that, and then you saw that we were running an 8-hour session and thought those guys are insane, you would have been right. But
we're not that insane.
So hopefully that'll be good in the next week.
It was about a week and a half for my initial revision, so that sounds about right.
Okay,
and now that the initial events have all tickets dropped for all the events now, and my understanding from reading the forums is that that's the busiest time for all the people.
Mm.
And then once the initial wave of like event purchasing is done,
Then
it's
everything
like
else happens.
everything else
Yeah.
gets,
So check back later this week. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
Also, remember you can support us on Patreon. Link in the show notes, also on the page on our website, or you can search as Tabletop Travel Guide Podcast on Patreon. So,
I think the only thing I misspoke, Tyler,
yeah.
is I just continually got Absalom and Aridin confused.
Oh, yeah.
Not that was like confusing, even you corrected me, but they both start with A, and my dad brain just couldn't keep them straight sometimes.
Abladin.
Abladin.
Aerosum.
Ooh.
I'll probably do it again today,
Yep,
so
it's fine.
I only got 4 hours of sleep last night, so we're going to roll with it.
It'll be good. So, today we are going to kind of run this almost as a tabletop finds-ish, where each of us have looked at 2 districts in Absalom of the book, and we're just going to chat about them a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of what they're like, and then maybe if there's a fun fact or something. So who wants to go first? Sam?
Oh, me. Okay. I'll go first. All right. Well, I am going to start us off, to probably no one's surprise, in the Ivy District, which is the district for the arts. This is the city's smallest district. It is located northwest corner-ish,
Okay.
kind of on that side. So, like, up against the wall. It's not seaside or anything like that. So it's kind of up more landy part of Absalom as a city.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
It is packed full of people, parks, attractions, and art.
Nice.
It has cute streets with trees, with flowers. There's lots of beautiful buildings, the finest theaters, performance halls, and like artist compounds.
Nice.
So naturally, it's very popular for tourists to visit.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Because there's so many things to do. So there's a district council that kind of keeps things in line here, but they don't really want to do anything that could possibly upset their revenue stream of
course,
tourists. So they have a district watch, which is called the Thistle Guard, but they pretty much turn a blind eye to minor crimes committed in the district, especially when it's foreigners.
Oh.
So like,
they're like, they don't want a reputation of like foreigners getting arrested.
yeah, so they're like, you came here to have a good time. It's fine. Instead, they spend all of their time enforcing harsh regulations about people performing in the guild or not. If you are not part of the street performers...
Are you in SAG?
Yes, it's true. If you're not part of the Street Performers and Actors Guild, then your performances are prohibited in the district.
Oh my gosh.
Love it.
I know, yes. So the strongest enforcement of SAG you have ever seen.
I love it.
Which I thought was hilarious. Also, fun facts, the Ivy District is home to a small handful of street gangs. However, they are more interested in creating countercultural art than they are in criminal activities.
So they're like running around.
They're like
Putting
tagging buildings, essentially,
Okay.
with like fancy graffiti. So they'll use like magic and things, and they'll cast like illusion stuff, and then like put like magical artwork up. And so like a big thing for the people who live here is investing money in high level dispel magic things so that you
That's
can get rid of
awesome.
all of your stupid tags from the street gang.
Gotta call the wizard to get rid of the illusion magic.
You come out and you're like, oh gosh, there was a gang fight out here last night, and you just look and it's just graffiti on the ground, there's like the car.
But it's all like very well done because
Yeah,
they're artists,
right.
right? So it's like
They're-
some beautiful mural of something that you didn't want on the side of your house, but you're like, well, here
There's
we
some
are.
like very particular graffiti artist who's like trying to get it just perfect and keeps
Right.
getting arrested.
I imagine
fine.
almost like Splatoon. Like
Yeah.
the battlefield is just marking the color. That's it.
Yep.
I love it.
Nice.
The other fun fact for the Ivy District is it is the home of the largest population of leshies in Absalom.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Nice.
They are sometimes hired by the nobles to pose as landscaping for parties. Also,
It's like those guys on the side of the street that are just like human statues. Leshy plants.
I like the cut of your jib. You want to be a statue tonight?
You want to
right?
3 silver.
I mean, that's not a bad gig. You can just chill.
Yeah, you just hang out.
I guess they have plant form, right? You can just
Mhm.
go into plant form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang out.
Just take a nap as a
Yeah.
flower. It's fine.
Yeah. get paid to just stand.
Yeah.
It's not a bad gig.
Right.
So then some cool places that we might see while we are here. So naturally, the center of the Ivy District is the Ivy Playhouse,
Of course.
which is the largest performing hall in the district. It boasts a reputation for hosting some of the best productions on Golarion.
Ooh.
So that's pretty snazzy. World famous artists come here to perform. So it's got some pretty legit international connections. It's also the headquarters of the Street Performers and Actors Guild,
Of course.
Nice.
naturally. Another fun place is the Wandering Monster,
Okay.
which is a small independent park that's maintained by the Leshies.
Aw.
Good.
It has a natural amphitheater on an open field of grass with like natural stone and log seating. It's not legally regulated as a venue for performances, so it's a loophole with the regulations about being part of the guild and performing. So it's very popular with traveling performers or shows with naughty content
Oh.
and questionable puppet shows. I don't know what that means, but that's a direct quote from the book. Questionable puppet
It's
shows.
Avenue Q.
Maybe. So that also seemed like a fun theater place to go to. Not related to theater, there is also the White Grotto here, which is one of the most prestigious bardic colleges
Yep.
in the Inner Sea.
Yep.
So, also in that performance realm, but slightly different. The most important thing, though, to know while you are in the Ivy District are the must-see shows.
Oh, is it like Cats?
There are 5 of them. I'm going to tell you what they are, and you will then have to tell me what you are getting tickets to.
Okay.
Because I'm curious. I have my guesses, but I want to know.
Okay.
All right, the first show is entitled The Fortunate. It is a tragedy that takes place in 2 parts and shows how quickly luck can change.
Okay.
Seems like it might be a downer. The next show is the Garden of Grace. It is a high art circus production, thinking like Cirque du Soleil
I was going to say
here,
Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
Okay.
performed by The Strange Bazaar, a troupe of Varisian acrobats known for elaborate costumes and sets.
That sounds pretty cool.
So that sounds cool. The next one is the Cato exhibit, which is an art exhibit in one of the Playhouse galleries that showcases the works of the Ustalavic sculptor Chris Cato.
Oh.
Cato's sculptures depict animals and flowers in varying states of decay.
Okay.
Okay.
Not That's not high on my list.
Not surprised.
The next one is the Seat of the Butterfly Lord. Some speculate that this 5-act expressionist production rose to popularity largely because no one would admit they didn't understand it.
Okay.
So, who knows what that one's about?
Yep.
And the last one is Trebuchet. Told from the perspective of a poor fisherman and his struggling family, this play tells the story of the recent string of rebellions in Cheliax.
I know what Ryan
You
picks.
can't just throw Trebuchet in there and not have me pick Trebuchet.
It's like sold.
I'm going to Trebuchet. But I do find the Seat of the Butterfly Lord very interesting.
What could this be about?
What? I think I would do the Cirque du Soleil one. That sounds fun.
That's what I thought you'd pick too.
Yeah.
Where are you going, Sam?
I would also want to go to the Cirque du Soleil type show, but then I would also want to go to Seat of the Butterfly Lord just to be like, what is it?
Everyone just acts like they. Oh
That's
yeah.
100% the show you drink through and you're like, man, it was great. I don't know what happened, but it was great.
I feel like it's some of like the ballets that like without reading the summary, you're just like, I have no idea what's happening, but there's lots of dancing. Cool.
I feel like that when I go to the Nutcracker sometimes. And like I know what happens in the Nutcracker, but sometimes I'm just like, man, this is very interpretive and abstract for Ryan's brain right now.
Yeah, I don't do well with this. Cool.
So yeah, so that is the Ivy District. So
Awesome.
get your art on.
Get your art on. Well, I'll go next.
Okay.
We're going to go to the docks.
Perfect.
The docks are the northern edge of the harbor. So like Absalom's harbor is kind of right in the center. It's right along that northern edge. It's not the only place to load and unload ships. There's like actual docking locations all across, but the district of the docks is the most popular. It's very mercantile focused, and there's a lot of trade and industry going in there. It's patrolled by the harbor guard. And I wanted
The
to mention
Coast Guard.
Well, so each district, I don't know if you picked up on this. Each district has its own internal police force.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And there's an overarching Absalom police force.
Mhm.
Hilariously, the harbor guard also basically don't police their own district.
Oh, good.
Just like the Coast Guard. No.
So the harbor guard, it says that they only get involved in things when they get out of hand.
Oh,
So the
Sure.
docks are very much like your generic. You think of like pirate.
Yeah.
It's getting rough and tumble, bar
Mhm.
fights. The harbor guard will watch a bar fight and just be like, "This is not my problem," until it spirals into a multi-building fight, or like
sure.
until things are on fire,
Yeah.
or like
Yes.
weapons are drawn. But until things get completely out of hand, the harbor guard just kind of hangs out, and they also let low-level thievery happen
Sure.
openly. So they're like, "Well, you should have had your hand on your purse, buddy.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do."
No. What do you want me to do about it?
And it's not even that they're bribed. They just can't be bothered to deal with it. They have better
I
things
mean, I
to
feel
do.
like if you have kind of like the pirate shantytown vibe, you're like, petty theft is like well below the,
Right.
the minimum requirements for.
maybe
Or
it's-
there's just like so much of it. It's like, we're not going to be able to keep up with this, so we're going to focus on the stuff that matters.
right.
Yeah.
Like we can't put every bar out of business
Yes.
every day for having fights because
Yeah.
they just would always be out of business. Yeah. The area, the district is ruled by Lord Archyk, Archyck, Archyk,
Ooh, it's a terrible name.
Archyk of House Durans. That's like the local congressman.
Okay.
And my understanding is, or maybe like a mayor, if you think of like a really large city that has
Well, they have.
smaller cities in the bigger city.
Mhm.
I've been seeing the like the term nomarch, like
Nomarch?
Nomarch.
Yeah.
I saw that a couple times. I'm like, I think, is that just their term of like area mayor?
So maybe. I don't remember
Yeah.
seeing Nomarch.
I saw it in mine, but I did not focus on.
Yeah. Either way.
Nomarch is the title within the
politics?
government of Absalom states, governed by a district council headed by the Nomarch. So yeah, he might
Okay.
be the Nomarch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you know that word comes from ancient Egypt?
Nomarch.
Cool.
Apparently, because I googled it and Egypt came up, not Pathfinder. So
I
that was
Googled with Pathfinder.
strange.
Nice. The Nomarch. The areas of note, of course, you got to go to the grog pit.
Mm.
It's the Tavern and Flophouse Extraordinaire.
Oh boy.
What's a flop house?
Flophouse is another name for a hostel.
Oh,
It's like crappy longer term living.
yeah.
Like you wouldn't
Yeah.
stay there for a night, but like you might be there for a couple weeks.
Bunk beds. It's
Yeah.
it's bunk beds. I'd never heard it called a Flophouse though.
Neither have
I kind of just envisioned like it's a pub and also pancakes.
It's the flapjack house.
There's also two large shipyards, the Devil's Own and the Sea King Shipyard. And they
Oh.
are constantly vying for business and workers, and they're always kind of going back and forth from mercantile perspectives. It's
Okay.
if you're looking for like the non-trade center, like a really cool thing to
Yeah.
look like, that's where they build the big ships, not only for Absalom's navy, but they take contracts for other navies,
Hmm.
Chelish, Andoran,
Mhm.
whatever. Big shipyards.
Nice.
The whole bay or the whole harbor is protected by Starwatch Keep, which is sort of its own district, but gets looped in with the docks.
Mhm.
Mm.
Big castle, cannons, ballista, everything you would need to defend the harbor proper. But also, it's outside the city walls. But also, all the people who live and work, or all the people who work at Starwatch, live outside the walls. It's like its own little island, and they have their own little like military
Huh.
base where like they live their days, and it's like a little market and like a little a little tiny
okay, so
town.
they live out there
Yeah.
on the island.
Yeah, so they live outside of Absalom, but they all work and like do their stuff at the Starwatch Keep.
Nice.
Yeah. Which I just thought was really interesting. It's called Dawnfoot is the name of like that small little
Yeah.
town outside of Absalom. So that could be a cool little
Little.
expedition out there. Go see the
Nice.
keep, go see the little town outside.
I like it.
Mm.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Cool. Okay, so my first place is a bit of a downer. I took the Puddles.
The Puddles.
Oh yeah,
Puddles.
the puddles.
So this is kind of the northwest side of the bay.
Uh-huh.
And at some point in the past, an earthquake in the area happened and
Yep.
kind of set off a slow sinking of the district below sea level.
Yep.
So now it has the nickname of Little Inner Sea.
Oh.
Basically, Puddles is just always covered in water to some extent. So during low tide, water is calf high, which just makes it tedious to navigate. At high tide, you can only navigate by boat. So it's like Venice, but crappy.
Oh.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Quite literally, too, because once the tide goes out, like everything dries out and it's just very stenchy. It's
Oh,
like
well,
there's
yeah,
a constant
'cause-
smell.
Mm.
But life still goes on. Inns, restaurants, shops, homes, they all get flooded daily, but people still go about their business.
Why don't they just make them on stilts?
It was one of those things where it's like everything was already built. Earthquake happened, it started sinking, and people, it's the poor district as well, so people
So
can't
they just don't have the
afford
money to do it.
Mm.
yeah, so like some places have like a second floor to retreat to, some don't, so they're just like stuck on roofs. Like,
Ugh.
yeah.
Yikes.
Residents have attempted to manufacture shoddy flood barriers and try to make like tiny islands to kind of like
Aw.
get away
Little
from the
pieces of
water.
high ground?
Yeah, little
Oh.
high ground pieces. Because there's just a lot of water, standing water all the time. Living conditions are not great, and mosquito populations are causing a lot of disease.
Oh.
Just keeps getting worse.
Yeah, there's also like a lack of temples and doctors. Several local mission groups from other districts do attempt to do some good and like try to provide food and medicine and stuff, but it's inconsistent and it's a hard place to navigate.
Yeah.
There's
Ugh.
like a local skiff group that will ferry people, but you can only get so far in the puddles.
Right.
So not a great place to be. So the nomarch here is Hagen Topkick,
Hagen Topkick.
which is kind of a cool name. He's basically a dictator.
Oh.
So where
Great.
most of the districts have a council and the nomarch ahead of it, he's the only member on the council and the nomarch.
Cool.
He's also the head of the district watch and the head of the salvagers guild.
So
Oh,
he's
jeez.
the head of the executive.
All the branches.
I guess it's still the executive, but yeah, he's kind of judge, jury, and execution.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he basically does everything possible to enrich himself. He uses the salvagers guild to extort local businesses. He's all about just making himself money and taking any bribes wherever he can.
Topkick. Come on, buddy.
Right.
Hmm.
But the good news is that recently his monopoly has started to slip now that his conditions worsen and embolden his citizens.
Mm-hmm. Uprising.
Yeah, so several groups have come in. So the reason I picked the Puddles is one of the reasons a self-proclaimed goblin king, Zuskut,
Yes.
established a kingdom in a local playhouse.
A kingdom.
Yeah, it's actually the plot of a Pathfinder Society scenario called the Flooded King's Court.
Ooh.
We played it.
It's
was
a lot of fun.
Excellent.
So basically goblins now have this like little kingdom in the Puddles, and so they keep showing up and like ignoring all of the like they don't care about the guard, they don't care
Yeah.
about like bribing, they don't care about the current regime. They just build walkways from building to building above the water,
Oh.
and then like they say use it they're teaching the young gobos to like use them to step over the heads of the to the leaders.
Okay.
Yeah, so a little gobbo party hanging out. There's also a local cult called the Skin Saw Cult,
Well,
It doesn't sound as good.
and they are making themselves known by leaving gruesome eviscerated bodies around the group.
You know,
this district.
Whoa, what's the end goal?
at least they know what they're all about.
Yeah,
But do they? Why are they leaving bodies?
no one
Is
knows.
it a ritual? Is it?
They really.
Look, you joined the skin saws. You gotta do. You gotta do an evisceration.
What
or
did
two.
you expect?
Ugh.
Dead dumb. Do not eat.
We had Greek recruiting week. You chose the skin saws. You're committed to this lifestyle.
You
now.
could have gone with the goblins, but you didn't.
I would have picked the goblins. They're in a playhouse.
Yeah, so Hagen is now kind of having trouble as conditions get worse and his people are getting more bold and really pissed off. He's kind of having trouble convincing the Grand Council that he has it under control. Like, most people are like, it's the poor district, like, who cares? Do whatever. But now it's like, I think people are more worried about, like, it's spreading.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you need to get it under control and keep it to where it belongs. So, they kind of need help. But there are activists that are kind of hoping to convince the Grand Council that the puddles are worth saving.
Okay, yeah. I want to see his performance review for the year.
Right. What's your year-end evaluation? So one of the places that I thought was really fun was Isopier's Astounded Abyss. So this is basically as close to a carnival as one can find in the puddles. The fish head queen, Isopier, has an exhibition of shocking, amazing, and terrifying sights of the abyss.
Oh, it's one of those
well,
kind of
like,
carnivals.
Pay a nickel and see a two-headed man.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a, old school carny vibe. They have shows that include monsters, mutated creatures, and undead, which put on scandalous performances for tourists.
Ooh, naked zombie.
Maybe not that kind of scandalous. Burlesque. Hello. So people from other districts do come to see it, but they kind of like don't tell their friends. It's kind of like it's like you don't want to admit you like went to the puddles for something.
So you get the boys and you like sneak out at night.
Yeah, you're like
it's like the weird bachelor party.
Yeah.
Come on, bachelorette parties would totally go here too. We're gonna go see the scandalous zombies.
No, they wouldn't.
Let's go slum it with the gobbos.
Slum it with the gobbos. Might go to the Playhouse. So some attractions include the Living Eye, the Inverted Man, and the Ignited Juggler, a juggler who ignites both her implements and herself.
There it is.
I mean, I guess in a world that fire resistance is a thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
You could light yourself on fire and it'd be like pretty chill.
Yeah. There's even a minotaur named Noir Spirit Skin, who was once a famous performer in the Abyss.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah. And I think the kind of sweet thing here is Isopier herself is a cursed mermaid. She has legs and arms of a woman and the head of a fish.
Oh.
So she kind of like feels a kinship and dotes on her troop.
Okay. Yeah.
Which sometimes causes some chaos because it's said in the book, like, usually screams and running peasants is the first indication that a monster got out.
Sure.
Oh.
Sure. Yeah.
That sounds right.
Of the abyss.
Like,
And,
oh, well.
yeah, so there you go. The puddles. Not a great place to go, maybe? Who could say?
I'd visit the abyss for a day. Like, we've all thought we're going to go to Florida. Like, what's the alligator place in Florida? I've always wanted to go to the Gator
The Everglades.
Gatorland?
I don't.
You're talking about a national park. I think Ryan's talking about a weird attraction where you just
Gatorland.
go
You never
look
heard
at
of
gators.
Gatorland? No, it's more than gators. I mean, yeah, it's got a bunch of gators, but there's also like it's
more than that. Obviously,
That's their tagline, Gatorland. It's more than just gators.
their tagline is "Alligator Capital of the World."
You're not selling.
Oh boy,
you're not making your case.
They have an albino alligator and a capybara.
Oh well, I'd go see a capybara.
Snakes.
Okay.
I still only want to see the capybara.
It's like native wildlife and plants in Florida. Like it's like a
capybara aren't native to Florida.
Well, they also have some other things too. They also have like cheetahs. So
do they have Florida Man?
Oh my gosh, he's in his own exhibit.
Typical Florida Man. Okay. Anyway,
moving on. Okay,
we'll go to Gatorland Tower.
Sounds good.
To do a major shift from the puddles, we're gonna go to the Petal District.
Ooh.
Which is the wealthiest part of Absalom.
That's a record scratch.
It is.
Smash cut to Rich.
You're saying there's no Gatorland in the Petals?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, you have the puddles and the petals.
When I wrote this, put Petal District in parentheses. We got money.
We got the money.
So this is where all the aristocrats live. They live in a section of the Petal District known as Eridan's Hill.
Nice.
Classic.
So, yeah, you know. So there are like palaces and like manors here.
Of course.
So like everybody wealthy and powerful, this is where they live and control all the little people from their hill, essentially.
Sure.
We've got, merchant empires are run out of here. We have ancient noble houses. We've got people that can like count their time here all the way back to Eridan's ascension.
Oh, dang.
Classic.
Like,
yep.
we got old
money.
However, there are some cool places here too. So you can see like a bunch of noble houses, which, you know, you can do the Hollywood house tour, right, of the Petal District. Like, here's where all the rich people live.
Hollywood's not old money as much as...
Well, no, but, like, if you think about, like, getting on a tour bus and seeing where all the rich people live, it's... You could do that here if you want to.
I've never been to Maine, but I'm picturing Maine. Like super old aristocratic money.
Oh, so you're thinking like East Coast.
Yeah.
Maybe not Maine. Maine's a little bit more like out there a little bit.
I've never
but
been
you're
north of
like
Boston, so
you could be north of Boston. Sure. You could be in a suburb, one of the rich ones.
Okay.
Anyway, old money. Woo. Okay, but other places of note that we do have here that, you know, not just the aristocrats can go to. We have the College of Mysteries,
Nice,
which is Absalom's oldest school of magic. The ruling board of a group of advanced magic people named the Assembly of Enigmas.
That's a good name.
Ooh, that is a good name. Catchy.
Basically had like a loose grouping that then they moved to a formal education institution as a reaction to, if we'll remember, when we had the pirate siege of Absalom, right after that, the Archlords of Nex founded the Arcanarium. I can't say this word. Arcanamirium.
Yep.
Which is in Absalom and is also located in the Wise Quarter, which we're not going to, but in a different place. So then the Enigmas were all like, well, we'll create a magic school because there's that one. So this is like the hoity-toity magic school.
Doesn't that make them not the oldest magic school, though? If they like, there's another magic school and we don't agree with them.
Well, so I think they're saying that like they existed as a group before they built the building.
Of course.
We've always been around.
We were a school before it was cool.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
However, because we're in the Petal District and it's all, you know, people who've been around forever, tuition is super high here.
Of course.
Instructors at the College of Mysteries are known as curators, and they see themselves as custodians of hidden knowledge.
Sure.
So, you know, I'm sure that's a good vibe.
Custodian of hidden knowledge. Aren't you just the janitor?
Hidden knowledge of mops. But they're super well paid. They're like high up in society, right? The thing that I thought was interesting about the college, so each subject taught by the college is referred to as a mystery.
Of course.
And each one is like divided into 4 stages. So each mystery takes you like 2 to 3 years to get through. So you're in school for a while.
Oh my gosh.
But they call students riddles until they complete at least one stage of a mystery. At which point, then they can be professionals and they can be employed as magical people.
Wrapped in an enigma.
And then each stage completes, like each completed stage gives you another title. So like other titles are Shadow, Charade, and Labyrinth. And then once you have completed the 4th stage, you are considered a Grandmaster and you gain the title of Enigma.
Sure.
Your Enigma, a riddle that went to Harvard.
I know. That's pretty much what it is.
This is totally on brand, though. Yeah. I love this.
So I just thought that was funny. Other interesting places. You can go to the Erastal Club, which is a fancy hunting lodge with membership fees.
Oh my gosh. This is the worst boys club.
Yes, it's like your golf club, right? And then there's also the Magpie Manor, which is a social club / a retirement home for performers who are too old for the streets.
So you send grandma to the Magpie Manor when...
No. So it's like if like Frank Sinatra had like gotten too old to perform his own shows on stage, he would go live in this house and people would come see him and you're like, oh,
it's a Vegas residency.
It's the Heisman House.
Yes, but they're all like older, so it's all people that are not doing their tours anymore. Yeah. They all just live here and do their performances.
It's like Vegas, right? That's what you do when you go perform in Vegas.
It's a residency.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But all the residents of the place are old. It's their retirement plan.
Okay.
But but then you can also like pay money then to go see them in their house and performing.
Be fun. Yeah, that could actually be fun.
Yeah. Nice. So I thought that would be fun to visit. But
nice.
That's the Petal District.
Petal District. Okay.
I mean, I would probably take the bus tour.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. don't think any of us have enough money to live here, but
No.
Nice.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. Okay. Ryan, what's your second?
My second is the Foreign Quarter.
Ooh.
Which I wanted to talk about it a little bit because we alluded to it in the last episode. It is, of course, where the brawl from the last Absalom episode occurred. West of City Center, it's between Westgate and the Coins. The more you read about the city, the more there's so many different districts.
Yeah.
So 10 o'clock on a clock.
Yeah.
That's roughly
Okay.
where it is.
Cool.
It's kind of like the generic place where a lot of foreigners are. There's embassies. The thing that I think is most interesting here, or one of the more interesting things, is this is where the Grand Lodge of the Pathfinder Society is.
Oh.
That's where the headquarters is.
cool.
And I did not realize how monumentally huge the Grand Lodge is.
Really?
It is enormous. It's not a house. It's not a lodge. It is a fortress castle.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
It is absurd. There are 7, it has its own walls. So it's its own walled fortress in Absalom.
Oh my gosh.
It has 7 smaller mini tower fortresses.
Oh my gosh.
The biggest being called Skyreach because it's so tall it touches the sky.
Okay, Pathfinders.
Woo.
I literally have. It's a huge flex by the Pathfinder Society. They have boatloads of money and they consistently invest it back into the Pathfinder Society Lodge
Wow.
here at the Grand Lodge.
I just imagine it started out as a tiny lodge, and you're like, yes, this is now our lodge, and you're like, that's a castle.
It's not too far off. The land was originally donated to the Pathfinder Lodge by a noble of hey,
Yeah.
I really believe in your organization. I like what you do. Here's a modest plot of land, and they've run with it ever since and made their own fortress. There's also the Wall of Names, which I found interesting. It's where the names of all Pathfinders who are deceased are recorded.
Wow.
Nice.
So if your GM ever kills your Pathfinder character, their name will be
Aw.
on the wall and you can go visit that.
Oh,
Yay.
nice.
Yay. It is just an interesting piece of history though.
Yeah.
They do their best to record every Pathfinder all over Golarion
That is really
onto
cool.
the wall when they
Yeah.
no longer
That is neat.
live.
Nice.
Yeah. In general, it also has low taxes. So the district has almost no taxes. The other interesting place is the Aurorium.
Oh, for a Rory.
Yes. I think I'm saying that.
Is
right.
it?
Well, it's like a Rory.
Yeah,
the
Aurori.
god,
It's the Aurorium. It is both a large temple to Aurori and also the largest open air coliseum in the Inner Sea.
I like how they just mashed Aurorian Coliseum together. It's the Aurorium.
Well, and I don't have it in my notes, but it's kind of like the actual temple. They're up there and they kind of keep themselves separate of the actual Coliseum now. I almost get the vibe it's got out of hand, and they're like, oh,
we don't want to be
we
associated.
don't really
with
want to be
those.
associated with this anymore. But it's named after our patron deity, so I guess we're stuck here. We can't just move house.
Now I'm just thinking of other deities. The Caden Kellium,
Yeah,
the Desnum,
Ooh.
the Gorum.
yeah,
R.I.P.
the Gora. Oh yeah, rip.
Mm.
You can sign up, Sam,
Oh.
to fight in the Aurorium.
Ooh.
So first, you have to demonstrate your fighting prowess to a clerk.
do you fight the clerk?
No, but you have to demonstrate your prowess.
Okay.
Punch the clerk. That's not what I... Sir.
I get the in the Hunger Games, when there's
Yeah,
they're
doing that.
watching them do stuff.
Okay.
I get that vibe of show me you have weapon skills, and then you
Sure.
pull your bow out and shoot your own arrow or
Okay.
something. And then once you're approved, you can
Uh-huh.
start working your way kind of up the ladder and doing more difficult fights. If you get 5 victories, you get a bronze medal or
Mm.
pin. Sorry, pin.
Oh, just a pin.
10 victories get you a silver pin,
Mm.
and 25 victories get you a gold pin.
Mm.
And you also get a stone bust of your head in the Coliseum.
Of my head?
Oh, in the Coliseum.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Okay, cool. I was like, of whom? Who do I get a stone bust
of
of?
Aurori.
Yes.
You
whatever.
can
No, they
have
put
the
a stone
gift.
bust of your head, yeah. And then there's this there's this portion where people make fun of people who talk about their victories as if they have a platinum pin. And it's oh yeah, this guy over here's got the platinum pin.
Oh,
Mm.
nice.
All right. Yeah, so I think it's a fun place.
Yeah.
It's not super hoity-toity. You can kind of get down and get with the rabble and see the Pathfinder Lodge, and it's a very diverse foreign place.
I like
Nice.
it. I like it.
I like it. Okay. So my last one is Eastgate. So as it sounds, it is on the east side of Absalom.
Oh, thank God.
Thank goodness.
Up against the gate.
Thank God.
Good.
Okay.
Opposite of Westgate.
Sure.
So there are soaring towers and stately manors that shape Eastgate's skyline. But most homes are actually just modest villas and townhouses.
Oh.
So
This is
the
where the middle class lives.
Yeah, it really is. So this is squarely middle class in nature. They're
Okay.
hardworking, secure but not wealthy, and very proud of their neighborhood.
Yeah.
They probably have a local football team.
Right?
Do they have an HOA?
So
Oh, no.
it's where Absalom's poor and working class people aspire to live because it's comfortable and familiar and also being attainable in a way that the world of the aristocracy isn't.
Yeah, you're not just going to get a mansion.
Yeah. Which is kind of interesting because I'm not used to seeing like middle class in fantasy. It's like peasants or aristocracy.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to have this is what middle class is.
Yeah.
So most Eastgaters, as they call themselves,
Mm.
they actually make their living elsewhere in the city. So there's a ton of commuters, and commuting usually takes hours.
Oh, rush hour.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's literally the burbs. But Eastgaters like this trade-off, where most other places like try to live near where they work. They think their district is so much safer and affordable, so they will travel wherever to work.
Yeah.
They're good with that. There's also a one-sided rivalry between Eastgate and Westgate.
Oh, let's go.
Westgate touts themselves as Bestgate,
Oh my gosh.
and Eastgate they call Leastgate.
It's just like West Side, East Side.
Yeah.
I love this.
Eastgaters generally just kind of ignore the boasting. They think that since Westgaters are more selfish and unequal, they almost have some pity on the Westgaters.
Oh, wow.
Because like Westgaters are like, oh, you guys would go to the Ivy District or the Petal District if you could. Like, we're happy and communal here. You guys aren't that great.
So Westgate's like, you're our rivals, and then Eastgate's like, we don't have rivals.
Yeah, it's like the non-rival. Like, we're too good for rivals.
Every time we say Westgaters and Eastgaters, I just keep thinking of Dr. Seuss with the Butterside uppers and Butterside downers.
Yep.
Yeah, so Eastgate is very aware of their good fortune and are very vigilant on stamping out crime. The crime rate is very low. They take very well care of their neighborhoods. It is like a very safe and secure place to be.
Okay.
But it does have its downsides, mostly for people that are considered less desirable, because Eastgaters are very unashamed of pushing out those people.
Oh, boy.
For the greater good.
The Post Guard, which is the Eastgaters' kind of
The
local guard.
Post Guard? You can't screw with the Post Guard.
They have little tolerance for beggars. They tell Eastgaters will tell beggars to go back to the Puddles.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah. And like the Eagle Garrison, which is another guard group out of there, they make their surveillance very obvious for the people they don't want there to kind of force them out.
Oh, now I feel like this is like mean.
Reading this, I was like,
This is
ooh,
hot
this is
fuzz
nice.
levels, yeah.
At the beginning, I'm like, ooh, this is nice. This is super cool. I'm like, oh, they're like mean nice. They're like very
Yes.
passive aggressive here. They used to host charity kitchens and orphanages for the poor, but pressure to keep the quote other districts problems out of Eastgate caused them to close.
They NIMBYs. They NIMBYs.
So you can probably source a lot of these changes to the Concerned Residents Union.
Oh, the
Yep,
crew.
here we go.
Yep. Speaking of HOAs, they are kind of the homeowners association of the group and kind of the leadership council of the district.
Sure.
There is an actual council, but the CRU is the kind of real people in
Of
power.
course, they're the soft power behind the hard
They
power.
take on neighborhood problems that are too small for the main council, but in their eyes, just
like
as
if your
important.
fences match or not.
Yes.
your,
If you painted your door correctly.
your shingles are the wrong color, sir.
Yes. You had your trash can out for 2 hours too long
Oh,
yesterday.
that's the worst.
So landowners and long-established families are the ones who make up the Concerned
Of
Residents
course,
Union.
yep.
They plan social calendars. They discuss schools. They vote on exceptions to regulations. They vote on all kinds of other stuff. Technically, on paper, they have no governmental power, but because Eastgate is such a close-knit community, once the CRU comes to an agreement, the legal recognition is basically a formality at that
CRU is like such a malicious sounding acronym too.
point. Yeah. right? And like most homeowners associations, this can dip into what seems like organized crime.
Of course.
There are some backroom bribes and negotiations. There's favors in exchange for support. They cut out red tape for the people they favor and kind of throw away business proposals of people they don't.
Sure.
To their credit, they're not all just there to line their pockets. They do want to preserve the pleasant neighborly character of Eastgate, just, sometimes at the cost of undesirables.
Think of the resale value, Tyler.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
That trash can's going to affect my resale value.
yeah. So the Concerned Residents Union of Eastgate, the Burbs of Absalom, the HOA Fancy Neighborhood of Absalom.
All right.
Yeah.
At first, I was going to be like, oh, cool, we'll live here. And now I'm like, I don't like them.
I do like the idea of just like quests coming out of Eastgate that are like
The HOA.
the HOA, like you meet with the Concerned Residents Union and you get a quest to take out some bushes that are been placed illegally, or like just like low level questing for a group of adventurers who are just like, what are we doing here? We're repainting a fence. Okay, I guess.
She had 7 pots out overnight, and the regulations only allow 6 pots.
Yes, pretty much. So yeah, that's Eastgate, and I think that brings us to the end. There are many more districts.
There are a lot
we
of
are not
districts.
going to cover in more episodes. Go check it out. The book is fantastic.
Yep.
I popped it open for the first time yesterday and was like, oh, I love this. This is great.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in there.
Yeah. So let's score Absalom. We didn't score it last time. So out of what should we 0 out of 10 districts
Districts works, yeah.
for score? Okay.
Either
So
districts or star stones.
man, Star Stones is too easy.
Okay, districts.
I feel like this has to be a 10.
I feel like it does too. Because even if there's some like weird stuff, there's so many cool things that I want to see
Like
Yeah.
and visit.
if there's one place where you're like, you need to go in Golarion and people want you to go there, it's Absalom.
Yeah. I was going to maybe go 9 because I don't think it's perfect. They have slavery underground.
We didn't talk about that though. We didn't tell the people about the underground.
You don't want to, it's touristy.
It's true.
For a
It's true.
tourist.
Yeah, it's true.
Don't go there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm good with 10.
Yeah.
If I was going to go to a place, this would be the
Yeah.
one.
Like I have no reasons that I wouldn't want to go to Absalom. There are parts of Absalom I would not go to. I might not go to the Puddles for long.
But the Goblin King.
But for the Goblin King. But like Absalom as a place, there's no reason I would not want to go there.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed.
Yeah. Cool. So 10 out of 10 districts
Woo.
for Absalom.
Really
Cool.
cutting edge, unexpected journalism here from the Tabletop Travel
Right?
Guide.
It's like, yeah. Who would have suspected? So with that, this will wrap up what we're going to call season 1 of the Tabletop Travel Guide.
Woo.
We have hit all of Avestan, and as we continue on in season 2, we'll hit the high seas next and then go down to Garund. But for now, we are actually going to be taking a quick break. So we are going to take off the month of June to kind of build up a backlog.
Mhm.
So for the past 5 episodes or more, we've really been recording on Sunday. I've been editing Sunday night, Monday, and then releasing Tuesday morning. This episode right now, we are recording at 8 p.m. on
Making it happen, I
on what will
suppose.
be last night if you're listening to this during the day. So I am going to have to edit this for a couple hours after we finish recording, and it's just kind of not sustainable. So we still plan on recording. We'll probably drop some patron stuff throughout the month, but we want to come back in July, and so that we can kind of have some buffer. So I can, get to kind of editing at a good pace and also keep up with the kind of patron content, because I think I have 3 or 4 cutting room floors for patrons that I have not released yet.
I'm 10
I
episodes
apologize.
behind on YouTube.
Yeah, Ryan needs to catch up on YouTube. So if you you won't be hearing this on YouTube. We apologize. But if you,
I'm going to do the thing that the YouTube algorithm hates and probably release 7 videos at once.
it'll be fine.
It's
It'll
fine.
be fine. So yeah, we just want to kind of get back to a sustainable pace and keep making great videos and not try to do this last minute that we've been kind of doing. But we will miss you. Hope to see you again soon, back in July.
First season 2.
First season 2. And yeah, thanks again for this great season. It's been a long season, a year and a half almost. But thank you to all of our listeners. We love making this podcast. We hope you love listening to this podcast. Anytime you guys reach out to us and give us feedback or chat with us or hit us on Instagram or tell us something we messed up on, we appreciate it. We love hearing from you. Please keep doing that. So with that, remember we have a Patreon. Link in the show notes or on our website. Search Tabletop Travel Guide Podcast. Reach out to us on tabletoptravelguidepodcast@gmail.com or on Instagram @Tabletop Travel Guide. Go check out our website, tabletoptravelguide.com, and continue to tell your friends about us.
Sam, you got any plugs?
Oh, I didn't think I had to do anything while you guys were doing all of the work.
Just a lot of podcasts are always like, anybody got any plugs?
Where can we find you on the socials?
Oh, nowhere.
You
None of
gonna
us
get
are
any
doing
shows
the
soon,
socials.
Sam?
No. All the shows in the summer are musicals. And as we have all learned, if you've listened to the Cozy Kingmaker episode, I am not the star of a musical.
We'll be your backup singers.
Oh, I don't know that anyone would pay money for that.
They wouldn't. But yeah. So thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you in a month. Safe travels.